Well, here we are. This is the 2010 John Deere zero-turn snowplow and cab without the snowplow. I've been doing some remodifications on the cab. There's a lot of things I would have made it different if I were doing it again. One of the things is I probably would have used some small thin tube steel. Would have made things a little more simplified and would have cost a little bit more, but in the long run probably wouldn't have been, because I've added some angle iron to the corners. It's that perforated angle iron. It's got holes in it. Covered it with Gorilla tape, and if I'd had the thin tube steel, I wouldn't have had that. Of course, it would have been heavy, but probably not any heavier than it is now. I did get rid of the black plastic. That looked really shabby. I put the plexiglass in the back side there so I can see all the way around now, which is going to be a real nice feature for sure. One of the things I didn't mention in the other videos that I made is, let me see it right there, the little nut that I welded on there. That was so that I could put the rod in there and mount my lights up above. It's also a shear factor. If you look at this, this is part of the metal there. These two bolts there and there, one's grade 8, one's grade 5. One alone would probably never shear from something that a snowplow might hit. But, almost dropped the camera. I always got something going on. But anyway, by that being close and welded, it does give it a little bit more strength that way. Another thing I didn't show too good because of the lighting and what have you was this little bracket right here. Right now it's not bolted down because I just got it sitting on here just for video as well as checking, make sure everything's fitting good again. But anyway, I would have made that bend all one bend going all the way to the top. It's welded here in this corner, and I put the tape on there to keep any scratches from getting on this plastic. And another thing I would have changed is this is awfully close to that right there. It works. I just wish it had been back a little bit further. And when these handles are down, I've got about 3 inches clearance there. It's working out great. No problem. I will eventually put some vinyl on the bottom side of this and drape it all the way down to here to keep my feet covered. And if it's rainy or like wet snow or whatever, it'd be nice to have that. And it also keeps my hands inside to where they don't get all wet from snow. I did have some problems with the hairline cracks from the washers that I had welded on back over in there. But I wouldn't recommend drilling holes in the plastic through vibration and then moving back and forth. You get hairline cracks, and it became a problem. So I put the tape across the bottom there just to stiffen it up a little bit, not lose my vinyl. And I painted the top side of the plywood there. Got rid of the plastic, of course. And I don't think it'll be out in the weather enough. It will be a problem. If it is, I will just replace it with some CDX or whatever. And this right in here, I didn't want that tape to be that wide, but when I pulled the tape off of the black plastic, it left residue on there. So I thought, well, I'll just make a design thing out of it and put tape back across it. I would put tape on the 3/8 rod that goes across here and fasten that in. I would not use the holes like I did. And of course, this is a perforated angle iron. It's got covered with the Gorilla tape. Gorilla tape is probably one of the better tapes I ever used in my life. I'll tell you, that stuff takes a licking and keeps on sticking. That's about the way I'd put it. I didn't have to put any weights on the back. It has plenty of traction, plenty of power. Didn't need it. I had rubber tire chains on the wheels, and you don't want metal chains because anytime you're on your concrete, they will put scratch marks on them, and the metal is not the way to go. If he was on ice, it would be better than rubber tire chains by far. But for the most part, the rubber tire chains seem to work good. I pushed snow as high as my knee, and that was never a problem. I did get stuck one time, and that was because I had a sealer on the concrete, and it was slick because of the sealer being on there, because I put 2 coats of sealer, which that's another mistake I made, but don't do that ever. This side not much different than the other side. These pins, I still able to turn them, so it mounts in there real good. And here's another thing: you can take this roll bar, you can bring it down, and then of course put the pins back in. You don't need the roll bar for the strength or the stability of it. And I put that tape on here. There's 3 or 4 layers of tape, and I put tape around the tape to keep it from scratching my powder coated paint. This same thing over here, I will put the vinyl on here, bring it down, drape it over all this stuff here. So that'll be my controls. Don't want them out in the weather. As you can see here, this one's close to, of course, they would be the sensor, same way. I welded my hinges on, and they're also welded on this door, and covered with Gorilla Tape. Gorilla Tape, and I like. Now, if I had to do over, I would have made it out of some thin square tubing, and it would have been better. I wouldn't have had to put these angle irons on. Probably would have cost maybe a little bit more, but the time I bought the angle irons and bought the rods and all of that, I think you'd find it'd be about the same price. And one of the things I wanted to mention to you about if you should decide to use square tubing, the thickness of this tubing, it's going to be too hard for me to do this, and maybe I can do it this way. The thickness of this tubing, leave that all together. Don't put your miter gauge on here and V this back. Leave this piece on here. Don't take it off. If it was a 1/4 inch thick, then start your miter gauge from that side and go back. Don't bring your miter gauge all the way out this outside edge. If you do, you'll have a big, gappy, sloppy joint. If this is an 1/8 inch thick, then leave that 1/8 inch and put your, if you want this to be the center, put your miter gauge on there and draw back your lines, and you'll find that will work out real good. No matter what the thickness is, whatever that thickness may be, always leave that bit on there and then start your miter. Not much to it. It's been fun to make. There's not any mountains you can buy that I know of. You can't buy this one either. Too much work.